welcome to Masterpiece Kids Online. These past few weeks, we have been going through a series called God Speaks. Last week, we learned all the different ways that God is speaking to us. This week, we're going to ask a different question. Let's go ahead and check in with the Okra Report.
Hello, and welcome to the Okra Report. I'm Okra Walters. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest, toughest questions ever to face humanity. No, it's not how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Please stop asking me that question.
No, the question we are tackling today is, what does God say? We've established that God speaks to people today, even kids. We know He speaks to people in all kinds of ways, but what does God say when He speaks? To answer this question, we sent out our ACE reporter to ask some folks that very question. However, he was struck by lightning while filming our segment entitled Tinfoil Hats, Novelty or Health Hazard, and is now unavailable. So instead, we sent our, you know who he is, Boffo.
Hey! Has anyone seen my microphone? Hey, Mr. Robo Clown on the wall. Have you seen my microphone?
Boffo, your microphone is in your hand.
No, I don't have time to start a polka band. I gotta find my microphone or the vegetable lady on the TV's gonna yell at me again.
Boffo, we've been through this. Yes, my name is Okra. No, I am not a vegetable. And your microphone is in your hand.
Oh, sorry. Don't you run away from me again, you little rascal. Anyway, I asked some people, when God talks to people, what does He say? Here's some of their answers. Are you ready, clown robot? I am.
What does God say? I think He's real modern, you know. He be all like, hashtag let there be light, hashtag everybody get their praise on, hashtag don't be doing that, hashtag I love y'all, LOL.
What's a hashtag? Is it like a little sticker you put on your hash browns?
What is wrong with you?
So I was totally doing some epic cliff diving the other day, and I looked up and I saw what I thought was a seagull wearing a parachute. And I said, yo, seagull bro, why are you wearing a parachute? You got wings. And then the seagull said, wake up, Rip. And I was like, how do you know my name? And then I woke up and realized I was actually just in my bathtub asleep the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Ma'am, if I tell you once, I'm gonna tell you a dozen times. Could you please speak louder? It's like talking to a plant, but at least a plant listens to you.
Ooh, I know exactly what God says. God says the same thing that my mama used to say to me. Mabel, get those corn cobs out of your nose. I don't care what your cousin says. Your nostrils can't stretch that far.
It sounds like something you deal with a lot.
Don't knock it till you tried it.
Looks like there's still some stuck up in there. Ow! Ow! Back to you, Okra!
Wow, it looks like Boffo found a lot of opinions as to what God says when He speaks to His people. So, what does the Bible say? Does the Bible tell us some of the things God says when He speaks to His people? Well, there is a very important story in the Bible about a time that God spoke to a king by writing a message on the wall. God was correcting this king because he had messed up pretty badly. Well, you're going to learn a lot about that in your lesson today. You're going to learn all about the writing on the wall and how God sometimes speaks words of direction and correction. He not only tells us what to do, but He corrects us when we get off the path He has planned for us. So, that being said, I better let you get into your lesson. And I have to get prepared for my next interview. It's with local farmer Dusty Sanchez, who claims that his cows have been giving blue milk.
It's them aliens. They're making Bessie's moo juice all wonky. They got my chicken too.
Where do we find these people? I mean, seriously. Oh, This is Okra Walters. I'll see you next time on The Okra Report.
Today we are going to learn about something incredible that happened in Daniel chapter 5. There was a wicked king Nebuchadnezzar who took Daniel and his friends captive in Babylon. He's also the king who turned into a cow when he refused to give God the glory. But that's a whole other story. After a few years, King Nebuchadnezzar died. A man named Belshazzar became king. Belshazzar was even worse and more evil than the other king. King Belshazzar decided, okay, I'm going to throw a huge party. But this wasn't like a 2-hour party with cake and punch. This was a feast, a huge celebration. Back in those days, this kind of banquet might last for several weeks. During this party, King Belshazzar decided to use gold dishes and cups from the temple of God to drink wine and to get drunk. But God was not happy. Suddenly, something really crazy happened. The fingers of a giant hand appeared and wrote on the wall. So this huge hand, my hand's not big, but this huge hand came out and it started to write on the wall. Now, whose hand do you think it was? Of course, it's God's hand. The king and everyone in the room watched as it wrote. He was really, really scared. The king was shaking. He was so scared. I mean, I would be scared too. When the hand finished writing, no one was able to read it. It was a different language. So, one, they just didn't know what it said. Belshazzar knew it wasn't good news, but he still wanted to find a way to figure out what it said. So, Belshazzar called in all the wise men and the astrologers and all the people who were able to tell the future, and he said, whoever can tell me what this writing means will be rewarded. The wise men studied the writing, but none of them could read or understand what it said. Suddenly, one of the king's wise men remembered. He remembered something from a while back. He said, what about Daniel? He is wise and he follows God. He will know what this means. So Daniel was brought before the king. Daniel said, keep your gifts, but I will tell you what God is saying to you. Daniel told the king that God was judging him for being prideful and not giving God the glory that he deserved. God was correcting Belshazzar in a very strong way. Today we are going to learn how God often speaks to people in order to correct them. Much like he did for this king, he may not write it on the wall for you, but God will speak to you to give you correction and direction.
Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Dan. My name is Glenn. And we're here to pop you up. Yeah. Hey, Glenn. What? Would you like to hear a knock-knock joke? Yes. Okay, here it is. Knock-knock. Who is there? Ben. Ben who? Been knocking for 10 minutes. Open the door so I can teach today's power verse. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Today's power verse says, if you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you grow in understanding. Proverbs 15:32. Oh, that was an awesome part of us, Glenn. Yeah, okay. But right now, I need my big, bulging, bulky bicep boys to stand up with me and say the part of us on the count of 3. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. If you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you grow in understanding. Proverbs 15:32. Yeah! talk about big, bulging, bulky, bicep boys. You can sit down. You can sit down.
Yeah, sit down, boys. But now I need to see girls.
Yeah.
Girls, stand up and show the boys how it's done.
On your pretty little toes.
Yeah, what you do, flex and stand on your tiptoes.
Like a ballerina.
Yeah. And say the power verse with me on the count of 3.
Yeah.
Here we go, girls. Stand up and do this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
If you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you grow in understanding. Proverbs 15:32. Oh, that was an amazing part of us.
Yeah,
You may sit down.
Sit down. Now, boys and girls, sometimes when God talks to you, He has something He really needs to tell you. Did you know He has a plan for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, He does. And when He talks to you, sometimes He's giving you an assignment, something He wants you to do. But other times, He's trying to correct you. He's trying to get you to fix something that you are doing wrong.
Yeah.
But the only thing you got to worry about is obey.
True.
That's all you got to do. When God tells you to do something, you do it.
Good.
And then He takes care of the rest.
You are so smart, Glenn.
I know I got a big head.
Aha. Yes, you do.
I know it's heavy. Now, boys and girls, I need everybody, boys and girls, stand up and say the power verse with me and my baby brother.
Yeah.
On the count of 3.
Yes.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
If you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you grow in understanding. Proverbs 15:32. Oh, that was awesome, boys and girls, both of you. Now sit down.
Sit down.
Well, Glenn,
What?
it is time for us to go.
Okay.
Mine's that. But until next time, boys and girls, my name is Van.
My name is Glenn.
And we're here to pump you up. Yeah!
Today we're asking the question, what does God say? We have definitely learned that God speaks to His people and that He speaks to kids. We learned some of the ways God speaks to us. The Bible, through others, through miracles and more. But what does God say? Does the Bible teach us anything about some of the things God might speak to us? The Bible doesn't seem to indicate that God ever speaks about unimportant things. I mean, God never said, "Hey Moses, read any good books lately?" God never asked, "Paul, which do you like better, rowboats or sailboats?" God doesn't talk about football or food or the latest video games. God doesn't babble on and on like people you may know. One thing we see from Scripture is that when God speaks, it is always something important. It matters, so when God speaks, make sure you're listening. One thing we can learn in the Bible is that God speaks when He has a specific assignment for me. In the book of Luke, we find the story of Mary. She was just an ordinary young woman, but God sent an angel named Gabriel to visit her. Gabriel brought a message from God to Mary. She has been chosen to be the mother of Jesus, God's son. The angel gave Mary specific instructions about what she was to do and what she was supposed to name her baby. In many other places in the Bible, we find God giving specific instructions and assignments to people. God assigned Noah to build an ark, assigned Moses to lead the Israelites, and many others as well. God still speaks to us today to give us specific assignments. Just like we heard in our Bible story today, sometimes God speaks when He wants to correct us after we have gotten off track. It's like a GPS device. If you plug in an address that you want it to take you to, but then you make a wrong turn, what does the GPS do? It immediately speaks up, recalculating. The key is you have to make the decision that when God speaks, I will obey. If you obey, then you will be in God's will. If you disobey, then God has to continue to do whatever it takes to correct you. So when God speaks, obey. You'll be glad you did.